A little bird has informed me that someone has actually won Mutaman's little contest. Such a person must be mighty and clever indeed, don't you agree? May the luck of the gods be yours, my friend. The gods smile on us that you remain yet unharmed for your efforts. With luck, success shall soon follow. Aye, what would you have of me?
That is a curious question, my friend. Nor does it have a simple answer if the truth be known, and is not a tale that I care to often tell. As you wish, my friend. Though I'll not be held responsible should you nod off during the telling of it.
Let me see. Perhaps it is best if I ask you a question first. You are a person possessed of wondrous magics, are you not? How is it that you came into your calling? Was it an accident? Was it born purely of talent? Do you believe you were fated to be what you are?
Aye, and no doubt the same could be said for many. Few know that the path they start upon will lead where it does. I myself started life as a slave in the southern deserts of Kalimshan. Never would I have foreseen that I might become who I am today. I knew of the lush and wild jungles of my homeland, Chult, only through the bedtime tales of my mother. I have never laid eyes upon its shore. My mother was owned by a most vicious and cruel caliph. As a slave child, one learns to stay out of sight and to move silently, lest one be beaten. Moreover, I learned to listen. I listened to the chatter of the servants, the bored talk of the guards. For many, many years, I was the shadow in the caliph's halls. For all my hiding, however, I proved of no use to anyone but myself. I could not save my mother when the caliph beat her to death for spilling a tankard of his mead, for instance.
Aye, but such is the life of a slave. I was the caliph's shadow, however, and I blamed myself for not stopping his blow, young and foolish as I was.
In grief and anger, I stabbed and killed the caliph, and was subsequently chased into the streets of Kalimpur. I fled into the shadows of the city, and was not alone there. I found many who I will call allies and not friends, for we acted in unison only to survive. The law pursued me, so always I remained hidden and listened as I once had. The fact that I was a thief to remain alive did not help, and eventually, even the shadows of the city were no longer safe for me. I sought passage out of the city, and eventually a captain took pity on me and gave me a position aboard his ship. Perhaps you have heard of Randall the Red?
No? Randall the Red once held quite the reputation as a bloodthirsty pirate of the Sword Coast. I was a member of his crew, though not a pirate as you think of it. I was not fond of drink as the other sailors were, and instead spent my time at each port making new contacts and listening. Over the years, Randall grew to depend on my skill. He gave me gold to establish informants throughout the coast, and I heard news the instant it happened. It was I who kept Randall safe and one step ahead of his pursuers, for always would I know before the chase was on us. I was not truly a pirate. I was his master of spies, though I did not put a name to what I did. And while Randall was indeed a pirate, he was an easy man to like. I was not fond of the looting and pillaging Randall indulged in, and did my best to subtly steer him away from the worst of it. Randall knew what I was doing, and permitted it only because I was otherwise invaluable to him. He cared not if I cringed and turned a cheek when the crew plied the worst of their bloody trade. As the years passed, I came into a certain amount of my own fame along the Sword Coast. My life was my life, and I was satisfied with it, and discharged my duty as best I knew. It was not until I encountered Lord Nasher that my life would change forever. That, however, is another tale. Ask me of it sometime, my friend. And thank you for listening. As I said, it is not a tale I tell often. Back to more important matters. Is there something you needed? I shall hope that the gods keep you safe, my friend. The gods smile on us that you remain yet unharmed for your efforts. With luck, success shall soon follow. Aye, what would you have of me? Aye, so I did. Though I had not expected that you would be truly interested in hearing the rest of the tale. Are you sure I am not boring you? Is that so? I have not had someone eagerly asking me such since, well, never. Usually I am not so, how shall we say, available. So be it. You will recall, I hope, that I made the majority of my early fame as the spy master for the infamous Randall the Red, aye? That life continued much unabated. Our ship found safe harborage in Luskan, and Randall plagued the Neverwinter trade lines endlessly. Lord Nasher was not always the aged man you know now. When I first encountered him, he was a man in his prime, a veteran of the sword and in possession of a brilliant mind. Lord Nasher vowed to end Randall's reign over the waterways. He personally sailed from Neverwinter to seek and destroy our ship. Perhaps. Once, however, Lord Nasher was renowned as the greatest lord of the North. The very idea that he was personally chasing us frightened the crew and gave Randall pause. For 2 years we sparred, he and I. It was all I could do to discover his ingenious plots to find Randall, just in time to avoid them. Never had I labored so. Once, he even disguised himself and his men as Walkina priestesses shipping gold to knowing that would draw Randall like a moth to the flame. Only at the last moment did I give in to my suspicions and warn Randall from their ship. It was a very close thing, however. In the end, it was I who betrayed Randall. He grew more desperate and more violent, plundering ships and killing all aboard. This he had never done before. When next the shadows told me of Lord Nasher's latest plot, I did nothing. I waited silently and watched as Nasher's men sprung from Randall's latest target. Randall was no true friend. He made use of me, and I had needed him. It was a choice I had to make, and it was no easy one. I fully expected to be executed and waited grimly as I was rounded up with the rest of Randall's men. My fate, as I saw it, was sealed. I waited a long time in the dungeons of Castle Never. The first man who came to my dark prison, however, was none other than Lord Nasher himself. He was very intense and charismatic, and suspicious. I was, after all, a well-known pirate, yes? He asked me only one question. Why did you not warn Randall the Red of my attack? I told him that even though I served Randall, I could not allow what he was doing to continue. Lord Nasher seemed surprised by my answer. So you would betray any man you served if you did not agree with his actions? He asked me. And I had only one answer. I said I would betray any man who I felt was wrong, and my only regret was that I had waited as long as I did with Randall. He smiled at me and said that he only hoped that if he did something wrong, that I would tell him first. I asked him if this meant I was to serve him now. To that he said, no. I was to serve Neverwinter. That was to be my sentence. I am 20 years into my sentence now, my friend, and I have been thankful for each year of it. That he is, my friend, that he is. And Neverwinter is a place I love. I could not have found a prison that suited me better. And had I left, I never would have met my Kali. It is nothing, my friend. Something best forgotten that I should not have brought up. Your original question has been answered, I hope. Let us return to the topic of your mission and speak no more of me today. I shall await your return then. Be safe and Godspeed. The gods smile on us that you remain yet unharmed for your efforts. With luck, success shall soon follow. Aye, what would you have of me? I did. That I mentioned her at all was by accident, my friend. I have been determined to avoid those memories for many years now. I suppose one cannot leave the story unfinished. As you wish then, my friend. Kali is short for Kaliara. She was of elven blood, a woman of extraordinary beauty and adventuresome spirit. She ran the Guild of Thieves in Neverwinter, you see, when I first began my sentence. She was also the first task Lord Nasher set me to. I was to see to her capture and to reduce the power of the guild in the city. And I was eager enough to do so, though I did not know what I was up against. Not at all. For quite some time, she and I were the most dire of foes. Kaliara stirred her entire guild against me, and assassins stalked my every step. The thieves had been used to holding power in the city, and did not care to be dislodged. I used every trick I knew to no avail. Finally, I chose to disguise myself and infiltrate her guild, determined to look upon my foe and end her life personally. It took me a great deal of time to do so. Kaliara trusted few, and I had to work my way up in the ranks over time until I was able to enter her inner circle. No, not at all. I killed her. I should have done it sooner, when I was first trusted enough to be alone in her presence. But I was too intrigued and foolish. She enthralled me. I found her soul so similar to my own, and we drew together immediately. Despite my misgivings, I gave in and allowed myself to love her. I knew it would not last. I discovered her plan to kill Lord Nasher, and knew that the time had come to tell her who I was. It was my hope to dissuade her from her life. She was not angry, as I thought she would be. Merely disappointed, perhaps, as she drew her sword. To strike her down was almost unthinkable. As we parried, I begged her to reconsider, to leave her life, to stay with me, and I would protect her from Lord Nasher's wrath. I will not change for you, Aarin, even as you would not change for me. Let it end here. Though tears blurred my eyes, upon those words I ran her through. She died moments later as we exchanged one final kiss. Thank you. I have never told another that tale. There are few that I would call friend. I would be pleased to name you amongst them. Perhaps in time I might come to hear your tale. For now, however, there is much to do. I shall await your return then. Be safe and Godspeed.